Stimulus checks hit bank accounts this week. Congressman Scott Peters joining us now with more on the federal aid. Congressman, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Raoul. Thanks for having me.
Okay, a lot of people wondering about this money, who's going to get it, when. You're pushing for more relief for voters, families, and small businesses. What does that include, and how do we make it happen?
Sure. Well, first of all, we understand that checks or actually direct deposits should start hitting people's bank accounts this week. If you don't have a direct deposit account with the IRS, they're provided a portal you can sign up that will keep you from having to wait for a physical check. This is for people who made under $75,000 on their 2018 or 2019 tax returns. That's $1,200, and then up to $100,000 you get smaller payments. Also $500 per kid. So look for that. If you don't have a direct deposit, sign up for that.
Congressman,
we've also got 2 loan programs for small businesses to keep, incentivize people to keep people on the payroll. It looks like the Paycheck Protection Program needs more money. So there's already $350 billion in it. We thought that was a lot of money when we passed this first bill. Senator McConnell wants another $250 billion. I don't think there's a lot of disagreement that the program needs more money. There's some questions about how it would be targeted, if it would be targeted. But we want to make sure that businesses know that that money will be there and that they won't run out. And finally, the other part of that, the whole economic stimulus is for people who can't stay on the payroll, or if you're a sole proprietor, like the person who cut my hair, you can qualify for enhanced unemployment insurance. And that's a lot of money that the federal government gave to the states. So the state of California administers that. And I know that they're trying to keep up with the claims, but I would check out whether you qualify for that with the state of California. Be persistent, be patient. They're getting, I think they said they got more calls for unemployment, more contacts for unemployment insurance in the last 4 weeks than in 2019 altogether. So, but the money's there, so keep at it.
Yeah, the money's there, and I'm glad you brought up small businesses, because we're hearing it left and right from people from all walks of life. There are so many businesses that really run our city, the state, the country, who depend on these small businesses. A lot of them are confused. A lot of them can't get through to where they need to be. A lot of them can't get through to the banks to get the money. Depending on the business, can they depend on this money to arrive? There's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of insecurity. Right.
And that's clearly, this is a difficult time for everyone. So you have to remember that the federal government's program it's less than 2 weeks old. So there's going to be some implementation, even in the best run program, there's going to be some implementation hiccups. So what you do is contact your existing bank if you have a banking relationship. They should be familiar by now with the Paycheck Protection Program. We're waiting for the Department of Treasury to get them the right forms and assurances. But every day we're getting closer to making sure that that thing is up and running as well as it will be. Also, the Small Business Administration has emergency funds for you that you can contact them directly. And I know you have my website information. We've aggregated all this stuff on my website at scottpeters.house.gov. We would certainly invite you to go there, look at it. It's got a reference to the Small Business Administration as well. And if you can't get the information from there, of course, you can always call our office. We have people, even though they're not in the office, they're all working from home, and they'll be happy to help you get access to the resources that are there.
And Congressman, if there's another stimulus, we've heard about that as well. How do we keep a lot of frustration over the pork barrel items still in a stimulus, even during a national emergency? How do we get that politics as usual pork barrel stuff out of there so that people get their money right away and get all the money they need? Congressman, can you hear us?
Okay, now I can. Sorry about that.
To repeat the question, how do we get, if there's another stimulus, how do we keep the pork barrel items out so that people can get the money they need faster? Because this is a national emergency. Business as usual in terms of the pork barrel items should not be included in this at this time.
I 100% agree with that. There's a annoying $25 million allocation to the Kennedy Center. That's not a huge amount in the context of $2 trillion, but the idea of this should not be to try to get your use the coronavirus crisis as an opportunity to get your pet projects through. So
exactly.
My caucus has expressed a concern about that. We're not for that. If it's not related to the coronavirus, we shouldn't be worried about it now. But if it is related to the coronavirus, we should be all on top of it. And one thing we've also suggested in my caucus, the New Dems, which is the pro-growth part of the Congress, we think, is let's do automatic triggers. So let's say these conditions worsen or they stay bad over time. Let's provide in this next bill that the money will automatically be released under certain conditions, depending on the employment rate, the gross domestic product, number of hospitalizations, that the money would actually automatically go out without another act of Congress. Two things. One, it's really hard physically for us to get together and actually meet in Congress. We all have to get on planes in violation of the very advice we're all giving to stay at home. But the other thing is, we don't want people to be uncertain about whether Congress will agree on this. The economy could know today that if these conditions persist, the money's going to be automatically injected. We think that would provide a lot of certainty. That itself would help people settle down and help them make investment decisions in a more informed way and a more confident way.
Informed and confident is important, Congressman, because all the programs you mentioned, this is brand new for the government. Everything is new, but you got to have that confidence of people, and they have to understand how to access that money. A lot of people are stressed about that as well.
Right.
Congressman Scott Peters, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Take care.